Going to ask all the members at this time if you could take your seat, and the committee will come to order. It is an honor to convene the organizational meeting of the Committee on Foreign Affairs for the 114th Congress. I welcome all of our new and returning members. And let me share with the members here today a little bit of history. Some of you know that this committee has had its origins in the Committee of Correspondence. This was one of two original committees in the House of Representatives. And in 1775, this committee was first chaired by Benjamin Franklin. And as you'll find in each of your little packets that we have here welcoming you to the committee has hosted an impressive array of diplomats and dignitaries over the years, including Egyptian President Anwar Sadat, Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin, just 2 days after the historic peace agreement was reached in Camp David. By the way, since 1812, the name of this committee has been the Foreign Affairs Committee. Our predecessors have struggled with questions of war and peace, freedom and tyranny, diplomacy and development for 2 centuries now. And this past Congress, we too tackled a number of these difficult issues. As you'll recall, we addressed the expanding and evolving threat of global terrorism seen in al-Qaeda offshoots like the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria and Boko Haram. We pushed legislation early on before the during the negotiations that we didn't know about. But during the negotiations, we had pushed the legislation in terms of Iran sanctions in order to bring maximum pressure and to try to get Iran to the table. We profiled brutal regimes in North Korea and Syria and the threat they pose to us and our allies. One of the first bills we'll address this Congress is a bipartisan North Korea sanctions bill. We sent this to the Senate last year. We passed targeted sanctions to counter Russia's aggression against Ukraine, and we insisted on practical policies to contain and fight the Ebola epidemic in West Africa and much more. But I'm confident that our committee will continue to rise to the occasion. Among the major initiatives we're going to be tackling, one of the most significant will be to authorize the Department of State, which is our primary area of jurisdiction. Whole activities and accounts have not been authorized in over a decade. As you'll remember, last year we put a bill into the Senate. Mr. Engel and I worked mightily to try to convince our Senate colleagues to bring that up. So we have tried and come close, and I am convinced that this is the year that we succeed and start to make enactment of this important legislation routine, fulfilling one of our most basic and important mandates here in the committee. We will accomplish this and other critical tasks by working together. One of the things I enjoy most about this committee is watching us come together to address the very serious questions and challenges we face. Now, of course, members are not going to always agree, but Ranking Member Engel and I have strived to conduct ourselves in a way befitting of the history of this great committee. As the old saying goes, civility costs nothing and buys everything. I strongly believe that our country's protection and prosperity depends on our willingness to engage each other in this room as colleagues who can work together despite our differences. So I want each of us to get to know the other members of this committee a little better. Whether it's introducing yourself after a hearing, comparing notes at a briefing, or traveling to a new region of the world together, we all benefit from time spent trying to understand each other's backgrounds and interests. And I thank you all in advance for your service to this committee. Before asking Ranking Member Engel for his comments and member introductions, I'd like to briefly recognize the Republican members of the Committee on Foreign Affairs, and then we'll go to Mr. Engel. Congressman Chris Smith of New Jersey, Chairman of the Subcommittee on Africa, Global Health, Global Human Rights, and International Organizations, is absent. Congresswoman Ileana Ros-Lehtinen of Florida, our Chairman Emeritus, chairs the Subcommittee on Middle East and North Africa. Congressman Dana Rohrabacher of California, Chairman of the Subcommittee on Europe, Eurasia, and Emerging Threats. Congressman Steve Chabot of Ohio is in another organizational meeting. Congressman Joe Wilson is here. There's Mr. Chabot. Congressman Joe Wilson of South Carolina, Not everybody's going to be present here. Congressman Michael McCall of Texas, Congressman Ted Poe of Texas, Chairman of the Subcommittee on Terrorism, Nonproliferation, and Trade, Congressman Matt Salmon of Arizona, who has moved from his prior Western Hem post to become Chairman of the Subcommittee on Asia and the Pacific. Congressman Darrell Issa of California returns to the committee after his service as Chairman of Committee on Oversight. Congressman Tom Marino of Pennsylvania, Congressman Jeff Duncan of South Carolina, our new Chairman of the Subcommittee on the Western Hemisphere, Congressman Mo Brooks of Alabama, Paul Cook of California, Randy Weber of Texas, Scott Perry of Pennsylvania, Ron DeSantis of Florida, Mark Meadows of North Carolina, Ted Yoho of Florida, and Congressman Kurt Clausen of Florida. I also want to extend a special welcome to the 5 Republican members who are new to the committee. Congressman Scott DeJarlais is a former physician and hospital chief of staff and is in his 2nd term serving the people of Tennessee. Former small business owner Reed Ribble is in his 3rd term, serving Wisconsin's 8th District, which of course includes the temporarily set back but sure to return with a force Green Bay Packers. Congressman Dave Trott, a lawyer and businessman who once taught U.S. government, joins us for his 1st term serving Michigan's 11th District. Congressman Lee Zeldin, also in his 1st term, joins us from the New York State Legislature. And as an Iraq War veteran, Mr. Zeldin, we want to thank you for your service to our country. And last but not least, Congressman Tom Emmer of Minnesota, whose resume leaves me both impressed and exhausted, so I'll just say welcome to this lawyer, radio host, local politician, and hockey coach. And I'd now like to yield to the ranking member for his opening comments and introduction of our Democrat members.